Go Bears!
And welcome everybody to another edition here of the Mass Steel Podcast with, of course, yours truly, Charles Brad Richie, right now, as we are just about like a little over 2.5 hours away, 2 hours and 15 minutes to be exact, from the NFL draft this year in Cleveland, Ohio. Tonight will be the stage as we'll be finding out who the Steelers and the Bears will be kicking off tonight with their first round picks right now. As the NFL draft goes for right now, with the or so far, the Bears are going to be slotted in at number 20, while the Pittsburgh Steelers will be 24th in the draft, largely due with both teams being in the playoffs from this past season. And joining me to discuss right now, fellow Bears insider as well as wrestling entrepreneur right here, talk about the host of the Fans Corner and doing some big time stuff in the media too, who's actually pretty much board hopping and doing some next level stuff right here. Talk about none other than Paulie C. You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at It's Me Paulie C 47. As for myself, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Prodigy Richie. For the Men of Steel podcast on Twitter, it is at Men of Steel CGR and at Men of Steel Nation on Instagram. As we get ready to check things out right now, Paul, great to have you on, man. Definitely been ups and downs and a lot of tested emotions lately, both sides of town right now. How you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me, Charlie. Appreciate it. As always, it's always fun to join you on your show. Thank you for the invite. And yeah, you said it, man. Both our teams are, well, I guess a nice way of saying it would be going through changes. So tonight, a lot rides on tonight. This first pick is going to be, the first pick in the right, and that you have in the draft that's supposed to be a very impactful player. That is supposed to be a person who is ready to play day one, and that is an immediate need that is satisfied. And like a position you're hurting at, and that's why I think the Bears are going to pick well, we'll get to that in a little bit, but yeah, it's a big night.
Yeah, no doubt, definitely a big night for sure. Definitely want to set like the opening table for right now as we take a look at for the picks between each teams. Both the Steelers and Bears going into this year's draft. Each will be having 8 picks apiece right now as we take a look at for right now. Down the middle, Steelers be, as I mentioned, 24th in the first round, 55th in the second round, and then 87th in the third round for their top 100 picks. As for the Chicago Bears, once again, they will be starting off 20th in the first round, 52 and 83rd for their third pick in the top 100 right now. And I know right now a lot of people have been throwing an uproar, safe to say, lately. I don't know if that's more of an underrated award, but with the Andy Dalton signing for 1 year, I mean, granted, they did try to bring in Russell Wilson not too long ago. They tried offering a few first-round picks, seemed to be a little bit of dissatisfaction from the Seahawks' point of view, not only from where the Chicago Bears were positioned, but more particularly how that was going to benefit them down the road. I mean, listen, I know Ryan Pace has been taking a lot of heat, still will be reminded to this day and forever will be until this team not just making the playoffs, but winning a Super Bowl for the beloved Chicago Bears. Never will let him escape the choice of choosing Mitch Trubisky over not only Patrick Mahomes, but Deshaun Watson.
That's going to follow the run forever for that to say. They're going to make a documentary on that draft one day. You watch. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, honestly, can we call it a Ryan Pace curse? Can we call it yet? So yeah, you said it. Until they succeed, I mean, he's still there. He's still there. So maybe he could turn it around. I think he's playing to win now.
Are you sure he's on pace for that?
Still, well, no, I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. No, yeah, he's on, or I guess you could say, yeah, he's on pace for something. He's on pace for something. Pun intended. But a lot is riding on this draft. If they don't turn around quickly, he's not going to get another contract. I don't think the fan base will revolt. Nagy, Pace, their careers are tied together at this point. They have to succeed this year. That's why this draft means. I don't think they're going to draft a guy who's going to sit on the bench. I think they're going to want someone who's going to start immediately. So I know I've seen a lot on Bears Twitter. A lot of people want the Fields from Orlando, talking about that, about maybe him trading up. It's not that, speaking of Trubinsky, it's not that he hasn't traded up in the past, right? He did it with Mitch. He did it with Leonard Floyd. So he's proven if there's a player there that he likes, he'll go and get him. Who that player is this time, we'll see. I think he's going to go defense. Personally, I've been looking at a lot of mock drafts from respect the Kuipers of the world, ESPN, and other news outlets. A lot of people have him. Basically, the theme is offense, of either wide receiver or offensive line. I actually have them going defense.
You know what? And the thing is, too, with offense, too, you also got Bears fans need to realize this aside from quarterback play, no matter who you bring in here, the thing is, I've always maintained this fact. They have not been the most popular franchise as far as protecting the quarterback in the history, especially the last 3 years that Matt Nagy has been coaching this team, too. So, I mean, if you don't get a quarterback in the first round, I'm okay with that. I mean, if you're in the Bear situation, you have to look at, as you maintain too. You point out to me many a times, offensive tackle or a guard. I mean, more in particular, a tackle that can help out a little bit more better on the run game. Because if you look at the last 3 years under Matt Nagy, they have been 17th average as far as like surrendering sacks on their quarterback, 103 sacks in those 3 seasons. And then you also look at the running game right now, which is about average 23rd with 4,178 yards of rushing in the last 3 seasons. And I know for like, I mean, that span right there, that has to be a little bit more improved. I mean, many could argue it has a lot to do with Matt Nagy's play calling, which he insists he's so headstrong on that he wants to go back to. But I'm just saying right now, no matter who you bring in there, quarterback, you need to prove you can protect them. It's just like having a good car and not having reliable auto insurance.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I, as far as running the football, I don't think that's fair. And you kind of touched on it to the offensive line. Because
or do you mean the no offense offensive line?
No, I think you kind of touched on it. It's not fair to the offensive line to put the running game on them because Matt Nagy hasn't committed to it. He just hasn't committed to it. He does not like to run the football. He's allergic to it.
As I say,
I think they have to give him an EpiPen shot before every play call when he runs it.
As I say again, that's why we call it the no offense offensive line. I rest my case right there with those points.
Got it.
No, but
in any case, yeah, he's going back to play calling duties. Offensive line, of course, it's important. Both sides of the ball. The line is important. The Bears got the makings of a decent offensive line right now. So a tackle, they do need a tackle. I just don't think it's their most pressing need right now. As far as like, I probably wouldn't go with a tackle in this first pick.
Yeah, I think you have to look at all avenues right here. I mean, listen, I mean, defense, I'm not sure how much it will make sense, but if you look at it right now, too, as far as like offensive tackles, they could take a look at right now with the Bears being 20th in this year's draft. You still got a lot of pretty good ones right here who could probably be available for them by the time they get to that 20th spot. I mean, you look at some guys like right here. I mean, here's a good one right here of Northwestern Illinois guy in the Big Ten Conference. He's a third-ranked prospect. I'm talking about none other than Rashawn Slater right here, and who's only played for them 3 seasons in that time. And you take a look at everything what they've been able to do from like a team perspective, as far as like total offense and stuff. I mean, you had like about 408 yards your first year, about 297 yards a second, 361 for a total of 1,066 yards in total offense right there. So I would imagine a guy like him would be a good reason why you could definitely look at that right now. And I mean, I think I have to be looking at those assets. Like I said, no matter who you bring in, you have to find a way to resolve that because the thing is, with the Chicago Bears, it seems to be the nagging joke that continues to rear its head once again. Poor offensive line protection, giving your quarterback enough confidence to execute and drop back in the pocket, make some good reads and some throws for some deep balls. But at the same time, too, I
Well,
mean, as we alluded to Matt Nagy earlier, I mean, sometimes if you're not having good communication being sent to you and you're communicating with your people in the huddle, that could be another thing that could have things go off the tracks right there.
absolutely. But like I kind of said earlier, the offensive line wasn't bad as people think last year. You know, that offensive line still managed to get two 1,000-yard offensive players going last year. You know, Allen Robinson had over 1,000 yards receiving. David Montgomery had over 1,000 yards rushing. So it's pretty good for kind of a offensive line that's kind of was makeshift and was thrown together. Had like 5 or 6 different combinations. So yeah, it absolutely is important. And you know, James Daniels was out part of the year, so that definitely hurt. I think they're in a decent spot. I personally think the Bears, and I think I mentioned this to you off air, that there's two I have two thoughts: what I think they should do and what I think they will do. I think that they should go somewhere on I think they should probably get another receiver because they don't have one, and you don't know the future of Allen Robinson. I wouldn't be upset if they did grab a tackle, but I think they should. I think they should grab a wide receiver. They got 10 wide receivers right now on the team. 10. So you got Darnell Mooney, which is you know for sure. Allen Robinson's a question mark. If you do get him back, that's 2. Love Cole Kmet, you know, and so they definitely need at least one more guy. And then you look at the list of those receivers, not very impressive. So I think they definitely need another wide receiver. But what I think they are going to do, I think like I said to tip off the show, Ryan Pace is going defense. He's going to take a cornerback. I think he's going to take Asante Samuel Jr. from Florida State. Maybe Patrick Surtain, the second from Alabama, if he's there. But I think that's who's going to be the top corner available when they go to drafts. This is Asante Jr. And they need a corner. The loss of Kyle Fuller, I think it's definitely hurts. And the strength right now of the Chicago Bears is the defense. You still don't know what you have at quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's also very noble stuff right there. I mean, when you look at the Chicago Bears, we were talking about as far as going like defense too, and you mentioned about quarterbacks right now too. I mean, you look at it. I mean, other guys I would also look at too to like add to that. I mean, which could probably be available like within the first 2 rounds when you also look at it. I mean, I could also look at some other guys too, like say like JC Horn of USC right here. This guy, he has like 2 interceptions in his 3 seasons right there. But the good thing is though his grade for this season I know has been very limited on not having a combine coming up this year, where people had to go to like their actual uh, areas of the school right there to actually their pro day locations. And right here, I mean, this guy right now is graded at 6.46. And this is the guy right here, JC Horn, who could definitely become an instant starter right now. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, this quarterback right here is pretty solid right here for at least like your first uh six guys are available right now.
I personally would love them to take a quarterback.
I
If
was
they
talking
didn't
about
have
quarterback right there, just not to confuse you.
okay, got it. But like I said, they do need a cornerback. You know, so the loss of I mean, Jalen Johnson, I'm a big fan of him, but they're gonna need help in that defense. They're gonna need help. And Robert Quinn, I think we can say had a disappointing year last year, right? So Akeem Hicks, is he still on the chopping block with his salary? So I think we still got a lot of questions in terms of that defense. So I think they're gonna go like say corner. So I mean those are sound like some potential ones if he goes that route.
Yeah, I think that'd be interesting. And then the only thing is too, even if like Akeem Hicks is on the chopping block, I mean the Bears ain't gonna have much to any wiggle room right now anyway. I mean, they're barely at about like not even like $500,000 in salary cap space, which is a major issue right now. And you look at Akeem Hicks, who is playing on the final year of his current contract situation right now. He is accounting for $12 million on the current cap number for this year's team right now, making $10.4 million this season with $1.5 million in salary. I mean, in prorated bonus right now, or signing bonus right here for his final season. Plus, he gets a $100,000 workout bonus sometime this season right now. So, like I said, even if the Bears were to try to extend him right now, I mean, there's a couple of factors right here. His age, he is 32 years old right now. He'll be 33. So, I mean, you're probably better off looking at someone fresh at that point right here. I mean, for this guy who's on the defensive line, I mean, clearly, I mean, you may have to start looking in another direction. So, I mean, you may have to look at possibly two for this year, some edge rushers. Maybe you could probably look at someone like a defensive end. I mean, if you decide not to go offense, another guy that could be right here, like within the Big Ten family here, I would say it's probably Kwity Paye. Probably get him with the second pick. Hopefully he's there for the Bears when they're at number 52 in the second round right here. This guy has.
You think he'll be there?
He's at the Bears are at slot in at number 52. He's projected to go between the first two rounds. And just like the other cornerback I mentioned, he is graded to become an instant star right here. He has like 11 and a half sacks in 4 total seasons off the defensive line, 23 and a half tackles for loss right here. And pretty much that's what he's got right there. So, I mean, if you're looking for like another solid defensive piece that you could probably snag in the second round, this guy may be one to keep an eye out right here. He's coming out of Michigan, by the way. And as we all know, too, once upon a time, who played for the Bears at quarterback, which is what they're looking for. Jim Harbaugh produces solid defensive guys in Michigan. I would recommend him for you guys.
Yeah, it sounds. Are you his agent? I mean, that's a pretty good case. Yeah,
Hey, Steelers got Devin Bush 2 years ago.
Yeah. No, that's. Listen, they need a corner, no doubt. They need a quarterback, but they need a corner too.
And possibly an edge rusher too. Like I said, with Akeem Hicks, because the thing is, you gotta look at it this year. Due to everyone's most all the teams salary cap dropping due to the COVID drop from last year due to lack of attendance right there, the Bears are going to be cap stricken for right now. I mean, they're going to be having their hands tied for trying to offer any extra money. I mean, you're kind of running out of wiggle room to like, front load some more contracts, convert into like signing bonuses, kick some money down the road right there, and hopefully you can get some guys to take some guaranteed contracts right now. I'm not sure if you have enough room right there. And plus, right there, like I said, 32 years old. I mean, you're pretty much on death road right there, in my opinion, especially in the NFL when you're approaching that age,
Yeah,
going on
it's
33.
you said it. He's on the back. He's definitely on the back half of his career. How many years he's got left? I know. I think he's got a good, probably 2-3 years left. I'd say more if he hadn't had those injuries in the last few years. But yeah, Ryan Pace, man, he's got his work cut out for him. That's for sure. He's got to do jump through some hoops to get the contract squared away this year, and I think he's gonna draft for now. They have to win now. They have to
Oh,
prove
you know
this now.
what?
Like I said,
I just
they
thought of
cannot have
a-
any projects.
I just
They
thought
cannot
of
have
a
any
cra-
projects.
I just thought of a crazy idea tonight for this weekend for Bears fans. You know who should be announcing your draft pick?
What?
The potential host for Jeopardy, Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
Have him announce like your first
yeah.
round pick, the guy who wants to be the next replacement.
Can't hurt us. You can't hurt us anymore, Charlie. You can't hurt us any more than we already are. Okay, we're just numb at this point.
Oh,
Who cares?
speaking of being numb, real quick, I want to get into this one a little early. I was going to mention this on Fair or Foul, but I want to bring it out of the way right now. Aaron Rodgers right now is he has been clearly upset. I mean, you look back at last year when they got Jordan Love in the first round, the Packers did right there. And then you also look at what's happened at the conclusion of the NFC Championship game right here, where they came up just short to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right there, losing that game at home. Pretty much had home field advantage throughout right there. They were the number one seed, I want to say, in the NFC. But still, I mean, a lot of people are going to be pointing to at Matt LaFleur for not going for that fourth down, that fourth and goal tying touchdown, instead kicking the field goal right there. I mean, Aaron Rodgers also hesitated by not diving for that touchdown, but fair or foul right now, we could see possibly, if not during the draft, but soon, a blockbuster trade for Aaron Rodgers. Fair or foul, he's not with the Packers this season. Packers are insisting they have no interest in trading him, but as things start to heat up, what do you think about that?
I believe foul. He's not going anywhere. I think he's more likely to retire before he gets traded. They're the Packers just absolutely will not trade him. And if they do, they're going to ask for a king's ransom for him. And I can't see a team betting the farm for Aaron Rodgers. He's great. Again, the MVP, 3 times, but I don't know. You and I have talked often how his playoff performance. I mean, for one reason or another, he just has not punched through as often as he should have. I think, right, we can both agree on is that he's too good to have only won one Super Bowl, it seems like. And I don't know. Let me put it this way. I don't want the Bears to have him at this point. I think I would want right now a quarterback that's going to be there for the next 10 years. A guy that you're going to lock in. He's your guy. He's your franchise. What Mitch was supposed to be, what Mahomes is going to be to the Chiefs. Like that. A guy who's like, that's your guy. Aaron Rodgers, what? Even if you were to sign, what do you get? Maybe 2-3 years out of him? And so, no, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's more likely to retire. What say you, though?
You know what? I'm gonna say he's gonna force his hand down right now. I mean, listen, there's a lot of stuff right now, a lot of fences that need to be mended right now. I really do believe right there when you get as close as you did right there. Not only that, I mean, he's always gonna be like thinking about that GOAT conversation. I'm sure deep down inside, where he wants to admit it or not, he has opportunity. I mean, the best path to go to the Super Bowl was to have it go through Green Bay after so many years when you had all your previous NFC Championship games, not one until this point right here where you finally had in Lambeau Field, granted with limited attendance due to COVID and everything, but still, I mean, it's like and you lose to like Tom Brady, a pretty good legit defense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and all these years that Aaron Rodgers has had to like get to those try and get back to the Super Bowl. He's had a lot of bad years. I mean years with bad defenses where he had to literally do a lot of heavy lifting. But at the same time, too, I also do remind people at the same time, he's also a guy who ran a guy out of town who was a legit head coach and the all-time wins leader in Packer history, I believe, and Mike McCarthy right there had to be doing something right. But I would not be surprised right now if they do find someone to tackle with right now. I mean, literally, I mean, you hear reports possibly maybe somewhere in the West Coast, like the 49ers right now. I mean, it does not seem like the warm, fuzzy feeling with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that ship is about sailed. As much as John Lynch still has a little bit of confidence in him. I mean, he's pretty much signed with Kyle Shanahan right now as far as like how he feels comfortable with running things. So I mean, I'm looking at those factors right there. And then plus when you also look at a guy like Aaron Rodgers too, the biggest thing too, and for him where I could see it making sense in somewhere like possibly the 49ers. I mean, that would make a lot of sense. I mean, for this reason, I think he played college football. I mean, where he got drafted, what out of like California, right there.
Yeah.
So I mean, you'd be back at home pretty much in a way. I mean, if you really think
I
about
think
it.
it was at Cal State. I believe it was Cal State.
I mean, he was born in Chico, California, right there. I mean, growing up, and to play at the University of California, right there. I mean, it would kind of be like a homecoming right there too. I mean, the thing is too. I mean, with his age too as well. I mean, a guy who will be turning 38 years old in December. How much are people willing to give up for a guy that's well deep into his career? That's another question to consider. As good as he is with the arm strength, and plus, as you mentioned, with the struggles in the playoffs, I do think something gets done, but we'll
And he's
see.
got a busted collarbone. He's busted it twice. He played he played at the University of California, Berkeley, by the way, in case for anyone who's wondering. But I I just don't see it happening, man. I mean, especially in conference, No way they trade him inside the conference. I can see why San Francisco would want it. I mean, they did get Garoppolo cheap, yeah, cheaply, I would say. I mean, that was what, the second round pickers, right? I mean, it was crazy what they got him for. But I don't see Lightning striking in the same place twice. I don't think they're gonna get a quarterback like Rodgers like on a sweet deal like that again. I think Rodgers, no way. He, like you said, he goes inside the conference. If he's gonna go, it's gonna be somewhere in the AFC.
And I'll give you another reason why you probably won't see him in the conference, especially with the 49ers. They're playing them this season too, by the way.
Exactly.
They'll be going head to head.
Exactly.
So it'll be
yeah.
both the Bears and Packers will be facing the NFC West this season.
And I think they want a seamless transition, right? It's not like I would say the Chicago in the past year or any other team where the guy who you've had for years all of a sudden leaves, and then there's also this huge vacuum, right? There's just this huge void, because it's so hard to replace them. And you had the Packers seamlessly go from Favre to Rodgers. And so, yeah, I think I would think they want to try to do that again. They have another, still continue with the Packers' success, and just when the young QBs ready to, whoever the heir apparent is ready and to take the mantle from Rodgers. I mean, obviously they got their window. Rodgers has got his window. Who knows whose vision is going to win out at the end of the day? But I think he stays. I think he stays for the year. They'll quiet him down. Whatever he's kicking and moaning about, they'll acquiesce to. They'll agree, and he'll come back. That's what I think is going to happen. He's going to come back. I think it's more likely, if anything were to go wrong, I think he retires. I don't. I think the Packers are just going to force his hand. They're going to listen. We're not trading you. That's it. So at the end of the day, just like I was saying about the all I gotta have to do is just write it. Write it out. So I think he stays and he's gonna play. He'll play this year. Unfortunately for the Bears.
So real quickly before I let you out here, two things real quickly. Who are your first three picks for the Chicago Bears on the top 100? How you see it going down for the Bears side?
Well, I definitely think they're gonna take a corner first. They're gonna take a corner. I think that's if I'm going off of my history of watching Ryan Pace draft, I think that's what he's going to do. So
by
I think
wearing the dunce cap at the same time, huh?
pretty much.
Yeah.
I think they're going to take Asante Samuel Jr. with the first pick from Florida State. I do think that's where he's going to go with defense. I think he does switch it out, though. I think he goes. I want to say he's going to go with the lineman in the second round. So I think with the offensive line, if he's there, I think he's going to go with Jalen Mayfield from Michigan. Solid pick. I mean, you're going to see a running lineman a little bit. So I think that's probably the top guy they can get. If they can get Leatherwood from Alabama, that'd be great. But I think, that's who it's going to be. I think it's going to be Mayfield. And lastly, I think they stick with the offense and they go wide receiver. I think they're going to go with Amari Rogers from Clemson if he's there.
That should be real interesting. And before I let you out here, last thing real quickly, thoughts on Bears legend right now too. I know it's broke a lot of people's hearts, including myself, seeing this earlier in the week Sunday. I know it's been a while before, but Mongo McMichael right now battling ALS right now. Said he's been experiencing a shooting pain in his upper arm and down to his legs right now, and really in some bad condition right now, critical. Thoughts on him right now? I know Bears fans, they can be able to hear him pretty much anymore at this stage, but what can you say about the guy and how much he means to that town, and what his thoughts will have been going into the draft and this year's free agency? I mean, what can you share us about Mongo McMichael?
Yeah, I mean, I think his thoughts mirror my thoughts and a lot of our thoughts, because he's not only did he play for the Chicago Bears and was successful with them, but he was also a fan with them, for them afterwards. And it's a shame, it's a shame. It's another member of that beloved team. And, the 1985 Bears, it's a historic team. They're in any conversation. If they're not one, they're two. If they're not two, they're one in terms of the greatest single season team of all time. It's them and the Dolphins. I mean, the only reason the Dolphins are even in that conversation is because they're undefeated. But what the Bears did that year was absolutely special. And you've never seen anything like it since then. And you might not see anything like that again, that level of dominance and the defense. And McMichael was part of that. The monsters of the Midway, and it's a real shame. That's as everyone gets older, it's par for the course. But it just came on sudden. I think it's why it's most shocking is that it just came on really sudden. And it's a shame. It's a shame, especially since for those who love pro wrestling, McMichael did a stint in WCW. Back in the late 90s before it went out, and too sweet for McMichael. Had to get that out for McMichael. So here's hoping he's comfortable, and of course I'm sure he doesn't need me to tell him this, but Bears Nation is with him and hoping for the best.
I thought he definitely had just as good as a wrestling career for post football for a good run right there, and great voice, doing a lot of stuff, especially like in his communities too. He ran for office a couple of times, but great stuff. Paulie C right here. Glad to have you on right here. Right now, it'll be interesting to see what the Bears do this season. The only defense I think Matt Nagy's got for right now, I mean, no offense, but no losing season lately. I'm sure a lot of people will put a smoke screen on that, but we'll see what they do tonight. I'm definitely thinking for right now they're going to have to go like offensive line for like their first pick. You have to get that protection situated right now, and then maybe like another receiver right now because of Allen Robinson being tagged right now. I have a little suspicions right there, like how he's going to be in the long-term fold. I mean, is it something that they blow and you get a backup plan right now, and then maybe I don't know, maybe like I would say like corner for your third pick around there. So I mean that's why I'm thinking for the Bears right there. I mean, I would think wide receiver they pick one up as an insurance policy in case things fall through with Allen Robinson.
I think you're right. I think you're right. That's why I think they're gonna go. Defense. They're gonna go corner, wide receiver, and tackle. So I mean, we'll see. But you said, man, hanging on. My guy, like hanging on like that. What's her name at the end of the Titanic on the door? Yeah, hanging on like that. That's what he's hanging on. Yeah, you're right on that. I mean, that's all he can hold on to right now. That's the only reason Matt Nagy's back is they made the playoffs last year. If they didn't make the playoffs, I don't think he's here. But him making the playoffs, I mean, he's made it what 2 out of 3, right?
Okay.
So 2 out of 3 years. So he's riding on that technicality, man. I'll say so. Where me, man. Of course, I mean, all criticism aside, I truly hope the Bears have a successful season this year. As to you, I'm sure with your Steelers, you want the best. The best for them.
We gotta have a bet. We gotta have a bet this year. I mean, the Steelers and Bears do lock up this year, but it's gonna be in Pittsburgh this time around.
Oh, maybe maybe for a head-to-head. Yeah, I'll do that for a head, not for who's gonna finish the season or no. But if you want to do a head-to-head, because they are gonna face off this year, okay, we'll do that then.
What's the stipulation? What's the stipulation you have in mind? Let's sell it right now, just so we can have it on record.
I do. Oh man.
This is your chance. Come on, man. Go ahead.
I don't know. You gotta wear. I don't know. You gotta have something Bears on for a game.
Okay, that's fine.
And I'll have something on Steelers on for a game.
Okay.
You gotta, all right. So something like that. All right.
Okay.
So
yeah,
maybe that I'm throwing that out as a maybe. I'm just off the top of my head. We'll talk. But if the people decide, then yes, we shall proceed. But I think it's going to be an interesting season, that's for sure. I mean, they've already proven they can get through the season with COVID. Every NFL team has. So
and hopefully no national anthem controversies this time.
Yeah,
around,
I don't
please.
see that. Well, I mean,
hopefully not.
Here's hope. And I mean, we still have some police brutality cases that are gonna, be on the forefront, going forward in the news and everything. So, athletes nowadays have responded to social justice movements and protests, and so we'll see. I mean, but right now things are looking good, so I'm excited. I can't wait.
Definitely. Well, hey, Paulie C, pleasure having you on, man. You go get some rest, man. Always a pleasure staying in contact with you daily. And we'll definitely cross paths once again later on this year, man. You take care and have a good rest of your night,
All right.
man.
You too, my man. Take care, Charlie. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it. And
likewise.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it again.
Likewise. You're always welcome here anytime, my man. Feel free to hop in at any moment. You take care.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Anytime, boss. All right, bye-bye.
He's got it. That's a winner.